Adam Shearer here with Tribe 16, and we're back on the buggy build. Let's give you some progress updates. From last time, we had just an empty roller chassis. Well, now we have the engine, transmission, and transfer case mounted, all the mounts fabricated, and it's properly set where we want it, and we can kind of go through some of that stuff. Also, we worked on steering. We've got our PSC double-ended ram mounted on our axle, and we've built the tie rod ends and fabricated all that. We've got our heavy-duty steering knuckles on this Dana 60 Kingpin. So these are steering knuckles are from TMR and real heavy-duty. Got all that stuff drilled and mounted. Got a radiator mounted. Built the saddles for it to sit in and the mount on it. Also have the fans and fan shroud put in place. So all that's kind of situated and where we know to build around and all the hoses and make sure everything clears it. The radiator was a little challenging. It's the same radiator we've been using, but for some reason I put it in a little bit different place. So kind of picking it up and getting it out and fishing it in and out, it's a little tight, but you know, we want the maximum size radiator we could fit within our tube work. So, you know, it's better to have it a little tight than just have a little skinny, scrawny radiator, and that might have some problems in the future with it overheating. So, engine, transmission, transfer case, and all that stuff. So, that also was involving going through the engine, having it dismantled and inspecting it for any major concerns, bearings and stuff like that, and then go ahead and putting the engine back together. We also did a cam swap and some other upgrades into the engine. This is a used engine, yes, provided by the customer. So we wanted to take a look inside and just make sure there was going to be no major concerns when we go to turn the key and fire it up. So we just wanted to make sure it's, you know, bearings were good, the cylinders look good. We did have the head sent off and had the valves done, new valves, springs, seals. We did do a cam upgrade. We put a stage 2 Brian Tooley truck cam upgrade into it. New lifters, also new injectors. We've had several projects where we've had donor engines and we've gone to fire them up and the fuel system has been sitting there for years and years, and we only have one injector spraying, so it's always fun when you get to when you get to go turn the key and you get nothing because of old injectors. So we went ahead and had these freshened up. Here we have the Fox 2.0 air bumps that we added to the chassis. Also a landing pad on the axle to where everything is timed correctly. The shock itself is zeroed out and the bumps are zeroed out, and we have good clearance. So as much up travel as we can get and still have everything clear the frame rail to where we have no crashing or contact, stuff like that. So kind of gives us the best performance. When building a project like this, you got to have all your parts and pieces in place to where everything lives together, and try to get them as close as possible. That way everything jives. We've had a lot of projects that come through that are not set up correctly, and we have to fix them because they, on an up travel, they crash or stuff rubs together. Making it clear is always fun. We added the air bumps after we did the shocks. Obviously, when you take a big hit, if you hit a big rock or you come down real fast, it gives just that extra cushion right at the very end, instead of having a shock crash. It also saves on your shock mounts, your shock bolts. If you hit something real hard, you can have a tendency of bending or even breaking a shock bolt, or damaging the shock itself, in that. So having an air bump is real critical in performance, if you're gonna be a little harder on the rig. My personal vehicle does not have them, and it suffers from some crashes here and there, and when I've had to fix some stuff. All right, we have the front of the engine here. Some of the accessories on the front that we added. We did do a new water pump. We didn't, obviously didn't want to use the donor water pump because you never know what kind of condition it's in. It might leak. So fresh water pump, fresh alternator. We do have the PSC steering pump. That's a P pump, which we prefer to use. We really like them for the performance. This is a goat-built mount that kind of repackages everything and moves it up and gives us some more room for the links and everything clear on the bottom side of the motor. Intake, we turn around backwards. On this chassis, we flip it around. On the LS motors, you can turn them around, a little bit of modification. And we like putting the air cleaner on the back side and kind of underneath the dash. It gives us a little bit more clearance instead of having to try to stuff it all in here. It gets a little tight. So kind of race car style, a lot of guys do that. They turn them around backwards. Just a little bit easier packaging. The exhaust system. I have started on the exhaust. I've got the down pipes on the front that come around and pick up, and waiting for some material to start finishing out the back half. So we got here in the cab area, we've got our mock-up transmission. This is a Turbo 400, and we do have the Atlas installed or kind of mocked up. Also putting together the midship drive shaft. It's kind of tacked together in mock area also. We won't final everything welding until we get more of it in place and kind of do some testing and stuff like that, make sure everything clears before we final weld that out. But kind of the beginning stages of doing the interior, we have the main seat bar set up that's removable, and we'll do all the seat mounts off of it, to where if you need to get in and service the vehicle, seats come out real easy, the bars come out real easy, and you have this big wide open area to work on stuff. You can even take out the transmission and T-case from the bottom. It's also available. So lots of room, lots of serviceability is what we always try to chime in on, because a lot of times we're working on them, and so we like to work on them and make it easy on ourselves. In the back here, we've got some further progress. We've got the fuel cell installed, and it sits in a tray, all mounted down secure. It's a 22-gallon cell, and we do modify the top plate. We pretty much get rid of what it comes with and build a custom one to put the fuel pump inside the tank. We always prefer putting the fuel pump inside the tank, keeps them cool. The longevity of the pump just lasts a lot longer doing it like that. Also modified the filler. Usually just had the screw cap right here, right on top, and changed that, and we'll do a remote fill to where you can easily fill the tank from the outside right here. So if you're using a dump can or just from the gas station, it's a lot easier than having to climb up and on top of your car and put gas in it. And it is NASCAR legal. It's 22 gallons. I don't know if that's still true, but I don't know. I was watching YouTube the other night. We were talking about this yesterday. All the cheats, the early NASCAR cheats from like the 60s and 70s and stuff, when things were really loose. And I guess they ran a 22-gallon fuel cell, and they talked about all the different ways that they cheated to get. They put like a basketball in there and inflate it, and then when they check the amount of, they'd have 22 gallons, but then they would deflate it and they could put more gas in it, stuff like that. I have no idea. They're very creative. There was one rule that didn't say anything about fuel line, and one team had a 2-inch tube that went from the gas tank to the engine, a 2-inch diameter tube that snuck all the way through the car, and it held 5 gallons of gas. So, in the back here too, we got the bump stops all built and installed, landing pads welded directly to the chassis in a kind of a reinforced point here. And once again, everything is timed correctly to where we're getting maximum up travel. You can see we got, just enough clearance for the links and all that stuff to work. So it's kind of how we like to build it, to where we're getting all the up travel. That way that, when we get to our final ride height, the project's not super tall. It's got a low center of gravity and plenty of good up travel, so you can take them hits. We still have to go through the axles. None of this has been built. We're gonna be doing, I think on this project, we're gonna be changing the gear ratio, doing a deeper gear, probably a 513 gear set. And I believe on this one, we're gonna do a spool and a mechanical style locker, and put a big heavy duty diff cover on it and stuff like that. Still gotta do those upgrades. And when we do that, we'll pull the axle out, and we'll basically have everything built on it, all the brake lines, everything that has to be welded on the axle. We'll get all that done, and then we'll pull it out. We'll do the gear install and all that, make it 100% fresh, and then we'll go ahead and paint it all. And then it'll be ready for reassembly. All right, so we have the chassis lifted up right now, and the axle is at full droop. And one thing that's always we like to do is limit straps. Basically is a big heavy duty nylon strap going between the chassis and the axle. And as it's basically all the way down or even suspended, it carries a lot of load of the axle and takes that off the shocks. Less stress of the internals on the shocks. The axle's heavy, the tires are gonna be heavy. You got all that weight that, say if you're super flexed out and the axle it's hanging, you don't want all that weight pulling down on the internals of the shocks. A lot of the stuff is just held together by snap rings or a little wire, and you just don't want to have a lot of strain on that. So a limit strap is real critical to take some of that away. These are PRP limit straps. We love PRP as our brand of choice for seats and limit straps and all that good stuff. This is a truss that we cut out here. It's our own design for this project. Mainly the chassis and most loose parts will get powder coated or even zinc coated. Some of the stuff will get zinc coated. The axle itself, we rarely powder coat them just because they get beat up so much with rocks and whatnot. So usually we'll just do a real high quality spray paint. That way they can easily be touched up. Also, sometimes having the axles powder coated, there's a lot of oil and grease in them. They don't really care to put them through your powder coating process with all that oil, but they can. They don't like it. Yep, Crosslink. We love Crosslink down in Fort Worth. We've been using them for a long time. They powder coat a lot of our stuff. Yep, so we kind of know the ins and outs on what to powder coat and what not to powder coat. I think that's kind of it for now. That's 1 week's worth of progress. Coming up next, start on the interior. That's the next thing we're gonna start tackling is all the interior panels, tabs and panels. If you're interested in a high quality off-road chassis like this or a full turnkey buggy, give us a shout, Tribe 16.